Thank you so much. Thank you.
Watch me! Watch me!
I can go with that.
I got it!
I just remembered, I actually requested the song. All right.
I got it!
So first of all,
Hey!
just to get us started, raise your hand real high, real proud if you have no fucking idea who I am. You've never heard of me before. All right. This is painful but important for my ego. Because everywhere I go, people come to me and they're like, everybody loves you, people are so excited, people are coming, they're like, can I have a selfie? And then, you know, it's easy to get a little confused about your place in the world, right? So you're never as good as people say you are, but you're also never as bad as people say you are. All right, so you don't know who the hell I am, that's good. All right, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself to give you some context, and we're gonna jump in right into some of the biggest mistakes startups make when it comes to selling and how to avoid them. Does that make sense? This is yes, this is no, this is I just came here because it's cold outside. You know? All right, and I'm gonna attempt the impossible for a Greek person. I'm gonna attempt to get us back on time. We're a little late, you know, and the German side of me is gonna try to get us back on track on being perfectly on time. So, a little bit about myself. Boom. How does this work? Oh. All right, just imagine the nicest slide ever, right? Oh, it's over there. Okay, so a little bit about myself. See, every time I click play, it goes back to the... It doesn't matter, I'll let you guys figure it out, okay? Let's see, can we do it again? Boom, see, every time I click play, there's just one button, it's not my fault. Somebody's gonna tell me this is a user error. You know, the engineer in the back is gonna be, can you reproduce this problem? I'm sure it's not an engineering issue, it's a user error. Let's see again. Boom, now it's working. Round of applause for the engineering team back there. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so a little bit about myself. I'm originally from Greece, but I grew up in Germany. When I speak around the world outside of Europe, I always say I am the best that Europe has to offer, culturally speaking, right? The two ends of the cultural spectrum, Greece and Germany, don't mix well. And I'm even from the most conservative part in Germany, the south. So I grew up in a factory worker family, immigrant family. Nobody in my family ever received a higher education, and I was determined to keep that important family tradition alive. So when I was 17, I dropped out of school to start my first business, and I've never had a real job ever in my life. When people ask me, Steli, why have you decided to become a serial entrepreneur? I always go, lack of options. Right? I have zero credentials. I barely made it through kindergarten. I had to start companies to then give myself a job to be able to work. Right? So I've done a few businesses back in Europe, and then 14 years ago, I decided to sell everything I had. I bought a one-way ticket to San Francisco because I had this idea I thought would change the world, would become the next billion-dollar business. I had very, timid plans. I only wanted to be, Steve Jobs' best friend and Time Magazine Person of the Year within 2 years of landing in San Francisco. Nobody has to pick up their phone to research any of this. None of this happened, right? What happened instead was not what I wanted, but what I deserved, which was basically 5 years of getting emotionally punched in the face, right? I made every mistake you could make, and I made it 5 to 10 times just to make sure it really doesn't work. And so my first company was a soul-crushing defeat and failure. Seriously, it was a company that was dead after 2 years, and for another 3 years, I just pretended it was still alive. I would walk into places with a skeleton and go, no, it's fine, it's fine. All it needs is some food and water, and it's gonna flourish, it's gonna be amazing. Right? I could not accept failure. After 3 years, I was emotionally bankrupt, financially bankrupt, spiritually bankrupt, and eventually I had to give up and accept defeat. And then I wanted, for the first time, to get a job in my life, and I stumbled into another company, and through a few twists and turns, that company turned out quite all right as the business that I'm running today. That company is the most relevant for you people and for the talk that I'm going to give today because it had started as a company called Elastic Sales. What we were doing with Elastic was we were helping venture-backed startups in Silicon Valley that had raised a Series A to develop a predictable and scalable sales model and then hire their salespeople for them and scale their sales efforts for them. And we did that for over 200 venture-backed startups in the span of 18 months. So for a little bit, we were one of Silicon Valley's best-kept secrets. Nobody knew we existed other than all the VCs and all the B2B CEOs of companies that had raised a ton of money and were struggling with their sales. So we created an incredible amount of expertise on how to develop sales models for startups, what works, what doesn't work, how to sell something that's brand new, how to sell something against massive incumbents, or how to create new categories to sell successfully there. And in the process, we developed a little piece of software, never intended to sell the software. We did it selfishly to help our salespeople do better, be much more productive. And eventually, the software became so good that we decided to launch it as a little tiny side project. There were basically 40 to 60 people working on Elastic Sales and 4 people working on the software product. And when we launched it, within 6 months, it had surpassed the revenue of the services business, which was the signal for us to go, maybe we should focus on the software thing, and scale down the services side of things. Close is an inside sales CRM. We help small and medium-sized businesses all around the world sell more and sell better, especially if you do inside sales, meaning you make calls, you send text messages, you send emails, you communicate, without going to door and knocking on doors. If you communicate a lot to get deals done, we've built the best CRM in the world for you. And we are competing in a category that, undeniably in software is the most competitive category ever. It was the first billion-dollar category, CRM. It's still to this day the most competitive category in software. A lot of times people ask me, how did you strategically decide to launch this in this space? I'm like, there was no strategy involved in any of this. Right? If somebody would have told me 6 years ago I would be running a CRM company, I would have punched that person in the face. There's nothing inside of me that was like, ooh, CRM, that's what I want to do. We just stumbled into that market. In hindsight, I can tell you all the things that we did that helped us succeed. But in the moment, we didn't really know. If we failed and the story was we built a better CRM, but nobody cared, that would make total sense to me today. I'd be like, yeah, lots of companies have done this. Build a better product, nobody gave a damn, right? But for a variety of reasons, one being us knowing a little bit more about selling and modern selling than most of our competitors, we were able to compete and be very, very successful. Today, we're a multi-million-dollar business. The smallest nearest competitor that we have, the smallest, right, has we are 30 people, fully remote, distributed in 11 different countries. Our smallest nearest competitor has 300 employees, right? And it's very similar in terms of their revenue to us. So we've done a few things right, and I'll share only the most right things that we've done right with you people, exclusively for Halifax. All right, for those of you that after today will be like, oh, I need Steli in my ear Tuesday and Fridays for about 20 minutes, while I run or do other chores. There's a podcast I have with this handsome gentleman called Heaton Shah, who is one of the most legendary founders, investors, and advisors in Silicon Valley. It's called The Startup Chat. If you go to thestartupchat.com, you can subscribe to the podcast, listen to me, and never, ever again have a week where you miss me. All right. I don't just launch podcasts and software companies. I also launch cute baby boys, or now they're like cute boys. This has nothing to do with my presentation, but I like to brag. But to be honest, it was more my wife that was the real founder. I was more the technical founder. I was more in a support role, to be honest. All right, so I'm going to talk about a ton of stuff. There's almost no challenge or problem or question that you have that I have not written about before. So to make your life easier, I've taken all my articles and I've collected and edited them into a number of ebooks that you can get all of them, all my ebooks, all my email templates, everything that I've ever written in one simple link for free. All you have to do is send me an email, bundle. Motherfucker, I know Canadians are really nice people. You can write something else, bundle. I'll know what it is, and I'll send you a reply with the link. You click that, you get all my stuff for free. And so you don't have to worry about, capturing everything or writing along with everything today. Right? My email address is steli@close.io. It's very simple. Bundle. All right. Here's the first thing I want to say. My least favorite thing about traveling all around the world and giving talks on stages about selling in specific to founders is that people look at me and they go, well, I don't like to scream. I am not obscene in my language. Hence, selling is probably not for me. It confirms sales isn't a thing I should be interested in or I should try to master or get better at, right? A lot of people will look at me and think, well, if the style of delivery of content is not my style, if his personality is not my personality, that means selling isn't for me. So I always start with highlighting the counterexample. Patrick, nobody here knows Patrick, right? Raise your hand if you know Patty 11. From the interwebs, yeah, 2 people. Yeah, Patrick is as unknown here as I am. He's very smart. He's internet famous in certain circles. And Patrick is the nerdiest person I know, and I've lived in Silicon Valley for 14 years. That says a lot. He is also speaking at a lot of conferences all around the world. And anytime I see him, doesn't matter where, in Japan, in New York, in Silicon Valley, he always walks into the room and looks like he was asleep on the couch with his clothes, and somebody violently woke him up, and he just walks into the room. He's there as a mess, and he's just like, what? Where am I? What is this? He's always slightly confused look on his face. I don't know, humans, So, and his style, he's really smart, in comparison to me, and his style is very different than mine. The clothes that he wears, the way he talks, everything is different. But Patrick realized very early, he's an engineer, and he realized very early, if I want to be an entrepreneur and build software that people buy, I need to also understand how to market and sell that software. So, like a true engineer, he went online and he was like, let me learn how to sales. And then he found me, and he read a bunch of my stuff, and he went, well, that's not that complicated. You do A, you do B, and boom, sales. And he's become very dangerous in the way that he's selling. And one of my favorite stories was that one time Patrick was building a product, an MVP, very early stages, and he visited Silicon Valley and he met with the founders of Stripe. Who knows Stripe? Raise your hand. Yeah, Stripe is well known, right? Multi-billion-dollar business. He meets with the founders, he tells them about his new idea, they give him some feedback, and then at some point he goes, guys, do you know Steli Efti? And they go, yeah, we know Steli. And he goes, well, if Steli Efti was here, he would not allow me to leave without asking you, are you going to buy my software? And those guys went, that's a weird question. This is not like you. This is a weird thing to say. And he's like, yeah, that's why I said if Steli Efti was here, he would not allow me to leave without asking you if you're going to buy. And they went, sure, I will be your first customer. To which then he tweeted, Steli Efti is the Chuck Norris of sales. He closes deals he's not even present for. I did not know the story. I just saw the tweet, right? But it's one of my favorite stories ever. It goes to show you can find your own hacks and ways to get to selling, but the basic principles apply. Don't matter if you're Greek, German, Canadian, don't matter if you like to scream or if you whisper to people, all right? Cool. Let's go through these principles. I'll go through them very quickly. I'll try to do a little bit of Q&A, and then I'll jet through this room like my hair is on fire, but I will be back once cocktails are served. There's a cocktail mixer right here. I'll be back then, so if you want to mingle, take pictures, hang out, chat, I'll be around for a long time then. Just for those that are wondering why I'm running through this building. Okay, so the first mistakes most startups make when it comes to pitching on selling is that you are not discriminate enough to who you're trying to pitch, who you're trying to sell. You can't sell everybody. I don't try to sell everybody. Selling everybody is dumb. It's a dumb principle. People all the time come to me, especially after talks. There's always some smart ass, usually a man, some douche. And it's like, Steli, if you're so good at sales, sell me your software right now. And I always go, fuck you. I don't know you. I don't know if you need my software. I don't sell my software to everybody. I'm not selling my software to my mom. Like, not everybody needs an inside sales CRM for a sales team, 5 to 15 people. Like, I need to know a little bit more about who you are, what you do, what you need, what your problems are before I even attempt to sell anything. Right? And that's a simple rule that's broken all the time. First, you qualify, then you sell. What does qualifying mean? It's very simple. When I meet you, I have 2 questions I'm trying to answer. That's all. First question is, can I help you? And if I can answer that question honestly and truthfully with yes, then I ask the question, can you help me too? And if the answer is yes to both these questions, then selling is easy. At that point, once I'm truly convinced I can help you and you can help me, I'm not asking, I'm telling you what to do. At that point, I'm taking over. I'm like, all right, you're buying 7 licenses today. This is how we're going to roll this out. This is what you're doing. You're prepaying for you. Like, I'm telling you what's happening. But first, I have to be convinced that you truly need what I have and that you're the right type of customer for me. And when I qualify somebody, when I ask the question, can I help you, I don't phony that question in. I don't pretend. Right? Have you ever talked to somebody that asks questions that are just there to be there? Hey, how many people are you at your company? Well, we're between 5 to 20. Oh, great. And then, have you used software before? Yeah. Oh, that sounds like a perfect fit. You should buy our software. How great does that feel? How much do you trust that expert opinion that you really need to buy that software? You're like, this person doesn't know anything. right? They clearly rushed through the questions. Their goal was to get to the end of the questions. My goal is to get to true understanding. I need to be really convinced. I need to be sold first myself that you need my software. And then selling you is easy. The next sin that startups commit when it comes to selling is giving terrible, horrific demos. I've seen thousands of demos given by CEOs, VPs of sales, SDR, whoever, whatever ranking you want. They all suck, right? And I'll give you a quick breakdown. I've written a whole book about this. But I'll give you a very quick breakdown on what's the problem with your demos today. Your demos are way too long. They shouldn't be an hour. I don't care what you're demoing. I don't care. Whatever you're thinking right now, you also are included in the statement. I don't care. 60 minutes is too long. Nobody can retain 60 minutes of clickety, click, and click here, and settings here, and click here, and click here. 60 minutes of that shit, nobody can retain that information. It is a demo, which means a demonstration of value. It is not product training. You're not giving somebody a black belt in your product. They have not bought yet, right? You don't have to teach them everything your product does. You have to demonstrate the most important things, the most relevant things to them. That's it. And you need to start with the end goal in mind. How many times have you seen a product demo, or gone through a screen share demo, and at the end of it, you're incredibly exhausted and overwhelmed? Raise your hand if you've ever seen a demo like that. All right. Now, raise your hand if you've seen a demo where at the end, you were excited, you had clarity, you knew what to do, you were pumped. All of you are liars. Right? You want people at the end of your demo to have the sensation of clarity. Now I know this is for me, and now I know what I need to do next, and I feel the energy to do it. Or, now I know this is absolutely not for me, and I feel the energy to say no. You don't want to end people on a note where they go, I have so much information, I need to marinate on this. We have enough overwhelmment as is. I don't need more overwhelmment in my life. If I end a conversation with you and I feel overwhelmed, I'll never want to talk to you again. It's as simple as that. I never want to talk to you again. So give demos that create clarity instead of overwhelmment. The next sin is not owning the deal. This is the thing. You know, the sales is really simple. The mechanics of selling is simple. The emotional side is really, really difficult. That's what's challenging, right? And so the reason why why we don't like to own the deal is because then we own the failure. Then we own the pain, right? But you need to embrace that pain and failure if you really want to learn and if you want to flourish. So here's what happens all the time. Some person that I've been advising or coaching or helping will tell me at some point, Steli, there's this massive deal that's finally going to close next week. That's going to allow us to raise the next round, and that's going to be all the money we need to finance this, that, and the other, and it's going to be amazing. And I go, wow, awesome. I put this in my calendar to celebrate with you. And then the week passes by and crickets, nothing. And I'll check in. I'll be like, what the fuck? Hey, are you guys drunk? Are you like in Vegas right now? Like, why am I not hearing anything from you? And the answer is always something along the lines of, well, the deal didn't quite close yet. There was a surprise. And I always go, oh, a surprise. There was like, fires. There was a thunderstorm. Somebody died. No. We still have to go through procurement. I'm like, how is that a surprise? How is something that happens every time a surprise? Right? Here's what's happening. You just didn't do your homework. You weren't prepared. Here's the simplest question that you can ask in sales, and I guarantee you it's the most powerful question you can ever ask. What will it take for you to become a customer of ours? Once I qualified somebody, once I answer the question, I can help them, they can help me. The next immediate question I'll ask is, hey, it seems like there could be a really great fit here. What will it take for you to become a customer of ours? And here's the key thing. No matter what they say, I'll keep following up until I arrive at a future point in time when they bought. Right? So here it goes. Hey, what will it take for you to become a customer of ours? Well, I need to bring this information back to my team. We need to look at this and do a little bit more research, and then we'll decide. Most people will just go, okay. And they'll go back to their team. I think they really liked it. I think by next week we'll know if they're buying. They didn't say any of this. They didn't say they really liked it. They didn't say by next week they're going to buy. They didn't say none of this shit. right? You all made this up. So ask, oh, you're going back to the team, you're doing a little bit of research. Okay, what happens next? Well, next we want to be on another call with you with some more stakeholders and ask more questions. Again, most people will be like, oh, this sounds good. Let me hang up now. Where this call is ending on a positive note, where I can go to my team and pretend a bunch of shit. Oh, we're going to schedule another call next week, and then they're going to buy. No, nobody said any of this, right? So you'll follow up. You'll go, okay. So let's say we jump on another call with more stakeholders. Let's say that call goes well. What happens next? Well, next we'd want to put together a pilot proposal and figure out how to do a pilot together. Again, most people will run. This sounds so good. Why ruin it with more information, right? Now, they haven't bought yet. So I'll go, okay, so we're doing a pilot. Let's talk a little bit about KPIs, what makes a pilot successful for you, yada, yada, yada. All right, so the pilot ends. We accomplish everything we set out to accomplish. Are we in business now? No. Now you have to go through legal. Okay. Again, you're going to feel the urge to just say, okay, thank you, and goodbye. Don't. Keep going. All right, so now we went through the pilot, we went through legal. What happens next? Well, then you have to go through procurement. Okay, are we in business now? No. Now you have to talk to my grandmother. She has to read your palm and see your future. Okay, and then are we in business? Yes, then we are in business. Now I have a beautiful roadmap between where we are right now and what we need to do to get where we want to get, which is to be in business together. Now that I have a roadmap of the deal, I can find out all kinds of enlightening information, like this is going to take too long, right? Our product costs $12, and this is a 7-year sales cycle. This will not work, right? Or even more importantly, you'll never get to that roadmap because they'll tell you something at the very beginning you really don't want to hear, like, I don't know. What will it take for you to become a customer of ours? I don't know. That's curious. Tell me more. Have you ever bought something in this company? No, it's my first day. I'm an intern. Could have been useful to know this before. Or sometimes you'll get the other side of it. Well, I am the vice president of everything important, but our budget is really locked in till 2030. So I'm just looking at the market to figure out what we're going to be buying and investing in 15 fucking years. So again, that's kind of very important information to know very early on, but you don't know that information because you don't want to ask those questions because you don't want to hear the truth, right? Because the truth is inconvenient. It inconveniences your, mental rosy plans of everything is going to be done next week, right? You have to fight that urge, create moments of truth. That's what I love about selling. There's no BS involved. If you're doing it right, it creates moments of honesty and truth. Money against service. There's no bullshit involved here. We had great conversations and we have big plans and this partnership could evolve into something strategically really, shifting, paradigm shifting. No, none of that. Like money and I give you something, you give me money. It's very clear. And if you don't want to give me money, something is missing. And now we're talking, right? Now I can learn. Maybe they're just going to tell you, hey, what would it take for you to become a customer of ours? And they go, I don't think your product is for us. And most people, again, will be like defeated. Oh my God, I knew it. Everybody hates me, right? Don't do that. Your reaction to rejection should be gratitude and curiosity. Be grateful because people really have risk telling you no. There's risk involved in telling you no. The risk of you getting angry, the risk of you being annoying, the risk of you starting crying, right? So there's risk involved, very little reward. So be grateful that they were honest, and then be curious to learn what the hell is going on. This is so interesting. Based on everything I learned, I thought this would be a perfect fit. Clearly, I missed some information. Clearly, I'm missing something important here. Help me out. What am I missing? What is missing? Well, your product sucks. Ooh. Let's be specific. What sucks particularly bad or in a way that stops you from buying? And now I'm learning. Now we're having a real conversation, right? You own the deal. You're responsible. It's not, the customer can make up their mind. The fucking legal team is delaying everything. You're not doing your job. You didn't do your homework. You didn't prep well. You own the deal, not the customer. People ask me all the time, Steli, what are your closing techniques? What is the closing black belt ninja hacking? I actually studied hypnosis for 3 years, and once people know that, they're like, can I hypnotize people into giving me their credit card, right? They're like, what is everything you know about closing? I don't know that much about closing. It's not rocket science. Again, it's not that complicated. I only have 2 rules when it comes to closing. Ask early, ask often. Right? People think closing is a thing that only occurs once every 12 months when the sun and the moon are in perfect alignment. Like, as if you have to wait for the perfect moment. You know what you're waiting for? You're not waiting for the perfect moment. You're waiting for the moment where you are 100% sure you're going to get a yes. That moment is useless. That moment, your utility is 0. Because that moment is probably when they would buy anyways. Right? So you're waiting. I'm waiting till they go in their pocket, they pull out their credit card, and as they're pulling out, I'm going to be like, you want to buy? Right? You want to be that sure because you don't want to hear the no. I don't care. I want to hear the no really early because I know I'm going to hear more no's than yeses, and I don't like no's either. I really don't. Even after, I don't know how many years I've been doing sales, decades now, still don't like being rejected. It does never feel good to me. I just learned to suck it up more than the other guy. Right? I just learned to suck it up more than most of you people. That's why I am where I am. And if I want to get to the next level, I now have to learn to suck it up again. Because once you're a little bit successful, it's very easy to just stay in that success and everything nice comes to you and all the deals come to you. I could do nothing and there's lots of good things that are just coming to me. I've worked my way to this point. But how many times do I get rejected? If I'm not getting rejected often anymore, it means I'm not growing, I'm not pushing, I'm not going for big enough things, I'm not expanding anymore. So I'm dying. So just ask, hey, are you ready to buy? This is the biggest mistake the startup make is they never ask for the close. They give a demo, and at the end of the demo, they're like, well, this was great, and we will send you some more information, and then, we're looking forward to hear from you. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? What is this? What is this? Why can't you not just ask the simple question, hey, do you have money? Do you have a credit card? Are you ready to buy? This was a sales call. This is not some weird thing where you told somebody, I want to be your friend, and then you're asking them for money. This is a sales process. They know they're there to buy from you, and you're there to sell to them. How do you end the conversation with, well, I don't know, whenever you're ready, you come with your money. Ask for it. And when they say no, be prepared because more often than not, people will say no. No matter how great you are, you could be the best salesperson in the world. You should get more rejection than you get accepted. And yes, it's just the way it goes, right? So just suck it up and learn that no is good. This is another thing. This is something I really hate. Most startups, to compensate the fact that they are lacking some sales skills, mainly the skill to sell somebody on the value of the product. What they're doing is they're discounting the price. They're trying to take away all the objections somebody could have. So if you have 0 objections, you surely will buy. It's not true, right? It is simply not true. And if you discount heavily, which most startup sales teams do, they just randomly discount every fucking deal. Doesn't matter if it's like a $1 million deal or it's a $12 a month deal. And I look at it and I'm like, what is this? Oh, this is the structure of the contract. I'm like, what contract? Yeah, well, it was a $25 plan, but we gave them a 50% discount to $12 if they commit to a 3-month prepayment, which they can't afford, so they're doing half of that payment, and then they're doing the other half. I'm like, are you kidding me? They're going to pay like $23.50, and then, 60 days later, like, what is this deal? This is like enterprise-level complexity for like a total lifetime value of $60. This happens all the time. If you have that level of complexity and customization with every single deal to close them, you're never going to be able to scale. You're never going to be able to replicate things. Your forecasting is going to be a mess. Everything, all your reports are off. You don't know your metrics because every deal is a unique sunflower. You can do that level of customization if you do multi-million-dollar deals, but not if you're doing SMB, small, 200, 400, $1,000 a month. You can't do massive discounts. And why do startups do discounts? Because it's much easier to just match what the customer is telling me some competitor is offering than to convince me of the value. We're probably the only CRM that doesn't discount heavily in the world. That means every deal we're in, and there's nobody that just buys us. Everybody who buys us looks at 3 or 4 of our competitors at the same time. That means that in every single case where somebody buys us, we are more expensive than our competitor because our competitors are willing to discount 80%, 90% to win a deal away from us. They don't care, right? So how do we convince customers to buy us? By selling them on the value. We tell customers all the time, if price is the only thing that matters to you, we're not the right solution, we're not the right partner. What we are focused on is helping you close more deals, you drive more revenue. If a deal to you is worth $10,000 a month and we can come up with a plan that says that using our software, you're gonna probably be able to close 1 to 2 deals more, why are we talking about $50 here or there or $200 here or there? It's a waste of our time, right? And people all the time, actually in January, I had to renegotiate our biggest customer. They pay us hundreds and hundreds of thousands a year. And unfortunately, they grew so much that they were not as profitable for us as other customers. So I had to tell them that they had to pay us 40% more, basically, or go with somebody else. And I was very honest and transparent. Here's why this isn't working. We closed this deal 3 years ago with a 3-year contract. Today, this is not a good deal. It needs to be a good deal for us to be a good partner, right? We want to be committed long term, but this doesn't work. So this is the plan. This is going to be the new price, or you're going to get this pricing that you have for another 4 months. We're going to do all the heavy lifting to help you get to another platform and find somebody else. I'm going to help you to negotiate a better price with that competitor. It's your choice. That guy, I knew that CEO is an incredibly good negotiator, so I was really, really dreading that conversation. And he was negotiating with me for 4 weeks every day, was calling me, texting me, emailing me. He's just like, I told him 100 times the same story, he just kept going. Because he knows usually people break. Sooner or later, they break, right? And I would have wanted to break myself. Here's a quick hack when you're a small team. Nobody can be fully responsible for a deal if the negotiation goes longer than 3 weeks. If the negotiation goes longer than 3 weeks, you need somebody else to sign off. And that somebody else needs to know nothing about selling. It just needs to be an asshole of a person. Right? Just find somebody that's very rational and does not care about your feelings. It's perfect. Right? There were times where I had intern engineers being that person for me. And I'd be like, after a certain time, after 3 weeks of commitment, you're not rationally thinking anymore. You just want to get the deal done. And you will agree to things in month 1 or 2 or 3 you would never have agreed to on day 1. Right? You're so invested, you can't get out of that anymore. So you just want to get it done with. Right? So at that point, I would go to that junior engineer and be like, this is the deal, and here's why I think they're right, and here's why I think this is good for us. And then that person would just go, Stefan, who is still with us, would just go, but this makes no sense. This goes against everything you say about sales. And I'm like, why do you have to be so difficult? Everybody in this company doesn't get it. And then I would say the same thing again, like, He's like, well, you have made no new argument about, this deal. You just said the same thing again in more words. And I'd be like, I hate you, he's right. Just like crash the door and walk out of the room and be like, fuck, he's right. I just want to get the deal done with. So in this case, I had my co-founder be like the helping hand. I was like, you're going to have to sign off on this because I know after 2 weeks of negotiating with the CEO, I'm just going to want to get this deal done and live life peacefully without him in my ear. And so for 2 weeks, for the last 2 weeks of our negotiation, every day he was telling me, we're never going to buy this. We're going to tell everybody how horrible you are as a company. I'm going to become your biggest nightmare. This is outrageous. And I just go like, I respect you. I understand your feelings. I'm here for you. Even if you don't love me, I love you, right? Every day. And there's a funny thing. The louder people scream about how outrageous your price is or that they'll never buy because you don't have X, Y, Z or this, that, or the other, or whatever. Oh, we're so big, you're so small. Whatever they're saying, remember one thing. Why are they still on the phone? Why are they still in the room? Why are they talking to me? If it's so outrageous, why are they wasting their time screaming at me? Because they want to buy. They want the deal. There's a reason they're there, right? Doesn't matter if it's a massive company and we're just 2 people. Oh, they're at the table with you. There's a reason for that. And so he, just like many others before him, have told me, all right, we're canceling, sent me this, that, and the other. Basically deleted all his, you hear 400 users on our platform. Took everybody off the platform. Look how hardcore this guy is, right? It's like we just see churn. He's like, everybody is off except 3 people or something. And we're like, mentally, I'm like, all right, they'll go, whatever. This was not a good deal. If it's not a good deal, it's not a good deal. It doesn't matter how much revenue leaves. And then, he tells me, all right, we're gone. You'll never hear from me. I'm like, all right, I'm still here for you. I love you. And then the next day, he's like, we're going to add everybody. Send us the new contract. We'll sign. And you go, this happens all the time to me, where you go, wait a second. How can you live with yourself? You told me something completely different yesterday. It happens all the time. All the time, people are like, all right, we're not buying. And then, boop, credit card information, this customer just bought. And like, we're on the phone 20 minutes ago. Some people are not negotiating as ethically as you would imagine. They shall say things that are not true. Right? I'm still surprised by that because it's not a thing I do. I would never tell somebody I'll leave if I don't leave. I don't live in that world of like pretending certain things. So when it happens, I know it happens so many times, but it still surprises me. I'm still, humans, they're so cute. Can't rely on what they say, right? And again, the more they scream, the more I have to go, I wonder why they're still here. They must really want to stay with us if they're screaming for that long, right? Please don't discount heavily. Convince people that your product and service is really valuable. And if that's too hard, build a better product. Create something more valuable. Don't just get the price to zero. That's too easy and it's not going to get you anywhere. All right. Next, not following up and following through. This is the highest ROI piece of advice I give, measured by the hundreds of millions of dollars it has created in value to the world. I'm not even that proud of it. I actually am a little sick of talking about it, but I talk about it every single day. Why? Because the world is showing me that this is creating an insane amount of value to the world. So here's the deal. The first step in sales is showing up, right? It's making the first phone call, first email, shaking somebody's hand, saying hello, making the first human touch and connection to start a conversation to then lead to a conversion and a relationship, potentially and hopefully. That showing up part, that's very busy. Everybody's doing it. It's a very noisy place. It's like a busy conference where everybody wants to shake hands with one person to get their attention, right? That's a very tough spot to be in. But the second step, after you've done this showing up part, after you said hello, you send an email, you had a first conversation, that's a following up and following through part. That's the part where everybody quits the race immediately. You make 3 steps and then quit. So if you keep going, you are going to win. There's just no other way to go about it. If you follow up and follow through more than you would usually, more than the average person, you are going to crush the results of your competitors. You're going to crush your old results. I tell this story all the time. I have a very simple philosophy. When we had a good conversation and I'm convinced I can help you and you can help me, I will follow up forever. Forever. Until I get a result. Yes, it's good. No, it's good. Maybe is where startups go to die. Maybe is where everything valuable goes to die. That I don't know what happened. They really liked it. I'm not sure. And then you make up stories. I think they got really busy. I saw in the news that, it's raining in their headquarters. Now you're making up shit, right? That is where nothing is accomplished. No is a clear result. If everybody tells me no, if 1,000 people tell me no, I'm going to change. I'm going to learn if I want it or not. If everybody tells me, yes, that's awesome. Usually it's a mix of the two. But if most of my conversations kind of stay in the maybe, I don't know what happened, it started kind of nice but not sure stage, you're not learning. You can't adjust. You can't improve. You cannot grow or succeed. So you need to avoid that maybe stage. You have to get to an end result. I tell the story all the time where I was introduced to a billionaire investor, somebody who built a product that all of you have used before. He agreed to meet with me, and then he went quiet. And I followed up, and I followed up, and I followed up, and he never responded. And I followed up 48 times. 48. Until he replied. And what was his reply? Steli, thank you for your follow-up. We had a big crisis overseas. I was traveling. I'm just back. Can you meet tomorrow at 1 p.m. in my San Francisco office? To which I obviously said no. No, I didn't say. I obviously said yes. Obviously said yes. So here's the deal. For most of you, when people go quiet on you, your story, your hypothesis is this person is rejecting me. This person thinks I'm ugly, I'm dumb, my shoes stink. They think my product won't make it. They think my startup will never succeed. So anytime I keep following up, it's like this silence is painful rejection. And eventually you just go, why are we doing this to each other? Why am I annoying you and why I'm getting more rejection from me? We both know this isn't working out. So you stop, right? Here's my hypothesis. Here's the story that I make up in my mind. My story is people are busy. People have lives that don't circle around me as their center of the universe. People get sick. People have problems. Companies have campaigns that shake things up. Priorities are moved. Like, the timing wasn't right for this person to respond to me. That's the entire story I have. Timing wasn't right yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to champion the relationship until the time is right for you to tell me what's going on. Yes, no, whatever, right? Just tell me something. But until you respond and reply, I'm not going to give up. And I'm going to keep it upbeat and friendly because I don't care. I don't feel bad about it, right? And quick question. Who here has an email in their inbox right now that you feel a little guilty that you should have replied earlier but you haven't yet? Yeah. You know how that feels. We all have that, right? That's how the person feels that you send a number of emails to. Keep it upbeat. Don't complain. Don't refer back to the old emails. I already sent you 7 emails. I really don't know. Don't do that. Don't make me feel even more guilty, please. Just pretend nothing has ever happened, and you're totally cool with it, right? You know what my 47th email to that billionaire investor sounded like? Just like the third one. Hey, another beautiful day in paradise. Here's some good news about us. Can you meet this Tuesday or Thursday? Right? No, I was not even smart about it. Just kept following up. If all of you decide today to just double the amount of follow-ups that you do on average, we made the world a better place. We created more value than you can imagine today. I have 150 case studies of people that followed my follow-up advice. They closed multi-million-dollar deals, raised money, got press, hired somebody really important. Somebody got engaged. I need to check in to see if they're getting married, if they're still together. I don't know. But he attributed that relationship to my follow-up strategy, right? Incredible value is created if you just follow up and follow through a little bit more than you're comfortable with. And, we built a lot of tools to make that a lot simpler, right? So this is closing a new tool we just released is automated email sequences. So you can write a number of email sequences, a number of follow-up emails, and date the days between those emails. And you can subscribe. If you have a conversation with somebody, you can say, yes, this is a person that's not quite ready to buy yet, but I want them subscribed to an email sequence. And the moment the person responds, the email sequence stops so human interaction can resume again. All right, and the last sales thing that I want to highlight, which is one of the worst ones of them all, is closing a bad deal. This goes against what most people would think of me. Most people would think, well, Steli is just, typical sales guy, so wants to sell all the people, get all the money, get all the revenue, make all the charts go up and to the right, doesn't matter at what cost. It's not true at all. The only thing that's worse than no deal is a bad deal. A bad deal is much worse than not closing a deal. Much worse. Why? If you close a deal where the answer to can we really help them was, the true answer was no, but you didn't care to really get to that, right? You just pretended to care, but you didn't really care. So you close them, although you cannot help them. They're not an ideal customer for you, for your solution today. If you close a bad deal, it is like taking on compounding debt. Right? It's not just debt that you have to pay off, it compounds every day. Why? That customer is going to give you all kinds of shitty feedback. They're going to give you ideas and advocate really loudly for things you should never build and never do. So you might get confused and start building things you shouldn't. They're going to need more support. They're going to need more training. They're going to need more consulting because what they want to do with your thing, you sold them a car and they need a helicopter. So now they're like, oh, I need all your team here. We need to help me make this thing fly. And now you're like, oh, shit. I don't know how to make this thing fly. Now everybody's now busy making this thing fly. It's like, oh, God, well, if we build the rotator and if we do this, and now you're building a fucking helicopter for them, right? This is not what you should do if you're trying to build a successful car company, right? So now you're busy trying to make this thing work, although it doesn't work for them. And eventually and inevitably, that thing will crash and they will go, fuck this. This isn't a good helicopter. We're canceling. And then they're not just going to cancel and be quiet about it and be like, you know what, it's both our fault. We should have seen that this is really just a car. No, they're going to blame you 100% for all of this, right? So they're going to go and tell everybody how terrible of a company you are, how much you lie, how terrible you are in supporting them. And you're going to be really hurt about this. You're going to be like, are they crazy? We built a fucking helicopter just for them. We had the entire team there trying to carry that car and they're complaining about us. No other customer needed that much support and help. You're going to be angry at them. They're going to be angry at you. People are going to be all hurt. Your quarterly number wasn't reached because, boom, you just closed them. You spent 3 months trying to do all this insane effort to get them successful, and then they're canceling. So all this revenue, the fake revenue you had on your books, boom, it's now down again. And not just that, you now have a 0-star review on all these apps and websites, and on Twitter, people are doing these tweet storms and how terrible you are. Everybody's going to be distracted. The morale in the team is going to be dropping. It is an insane cost to your company, especially in the early days, to close bad deals. Did I make myself clear? Don't close bad deals, right? And how do you prevent that? We're going back to the beginning. You truly have to care about asking yourself, can we really help them? Which goes back to understanding who's my ideal customer, and I'll present you an alternative nobody talks about. You should define who is my non-ideal customer. Because if you don't define it, you're going to get dazed and distracted, and in a moment of, we don't hit our quarter numbers and we have a board meeting next week, you're going to be talking to somebody and you're going to pretend that they're a good customer. It's not the people lie to themselves and others and are like evil. They're not the problem. There are very few of these psychopaths, and they're very effective. You have to admire them. But most of us, the problems that we create is when we kind of we don't even know what we're doing to ourselves. We're kind of because of all the incentives we've set up for ourselves, we kind of just make these one little compromise. What is that the road to hell is paved by little compromises or something like that, right? It's like these little things that you don't even think. You're like, yeah, this is a student that is studying design and wants to buy clothes. I mean, we have great design. This could be useful to him and his classmates, so why not? If they insist they want to buy clothes, they should, right? You make these little compromises, and then you create all these compounding problems down the line. Please, 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 never ever do that. All right, that's it. That's all I got. The 7 deadly startup sales sins. Please don't commit any of them. We have about 5 minutes of questions, and then I have to sprint. All right, so let's go. Ask the questions quick. I'm going to give double the value in half the time in my answers. Let's go for it. Who has the first question? Yeah. Great question. Don't bother with the mic. I'm going to be repeating the questions. All right, so what is the sequence or frequency of follow-up? In general, I've written a book. You'll get it if you email me that about follow-ups. But in general, you want to follow up more frequently in the beginning and then less frequent over time. So you might follow up the same day, 2 days later, 4 days later, 7 days later, then another 7 days later, then 2 weeks later, then a month later, and a quarter later, and then eventually once a year to the anniversary, right? But that's very generically speaking the sequence. Next question. Raise your hand. Boom. Yes. Yeah, beautiful question. How do you decide the right price point? It's a complicated question. I'll give you a simple answer, right? So here's the framework I like to use. Most founders want to price their product in a way where price will never be a problem, never an objection, right? But if you want to do that, your price needs to be 0. Because even if you want 50 cents, even if you ask somebody for 50 cents for something that should cost $50, somebody's going to complain about it, right? So the way I think about pricing is you want to price in a way where 20% of the people you talk to in the market tell you, this is outrageous, it's too expensive, I would never buy this. 20% of the market go, I would even pay more, but sure. And 60% of the market is like, the price is a little higher than some other things or maybe a bit higher than we wanted, but the value is really good. So they'll go back and forth, but with a bit of convincing, they can buy. That's when you leave the least customer surplus on the table, the least money that you leave on the table. Most of your customers, but they'll buy if they're convinced. Some of them will not buy ever, and some of them would pay you a lot more money. They find it cheap. That's a good price point in my mind, right? The good price point is not one where 100% of your market always goes, this is the cheapest thing ever. Unless you're Amazon. If you're Amazon, 0 is the right price point. But that's, only Jeff Bezos knows how to pull that off. Yes? How important is it for the founder to be a great salesperson versus hiring a great sales leader? Very important. Best is, don't worry about best. Best is a tag that I don't care about. But as a founder, you're gonna have certain advantages in selling that nobody can replicate. You have the best title, and people care about titles. I'm always surprised about this, but they do, right? You have the most expertise in the world about your product. No matter who works and how hard they work, nobody will know as much about your product than you do. And you're probably also a world expert in your industry, in that market, right? So you have certain advantages in selling that only you will have. Nobody else can learn that or replicate that. So you need to use those. Now, you might not be as slick, as charismatic, you might not be as experienced, right? But you have these benefits, you'll have some pluses, some minuses, but you need to be effective in selling your vision and your product. Selling is nothing else than result-driven communication. You communicate with an end result in mind. You're gonna have to sell to get people to join your company, to give you money, to write about you, to like all kinds of things. So communicating and driving results through communication, you have to get really good at it. Think about Mark Zuckerberg. He's not a great salesperson in the traditional sense. He's like also somebody that's still working on the human thing. It's still a kind of uncomfortable to him. But he's a very, very good salesperson. Very good salesperson. All right, next question. Yes? Great question. How do you spot a good salesperson? What are the characteristics? I'm thought of a sales thought leader, and you'll never hear me say the words, I just hired a great salesperson. Never, ever. It takes time. It takes me 6 to 12 months to really know if somebody's good at sales. Because the most important thing to me in selling is not if you're charismatic, not if you're good with people, not if you're competitive. All these things are important, but if you're consistent, right? Consistency is really what makes somebody great at sales or not so great at sales. Keeping the same performance at play and improving your performance no matter if you had the greatest quarter ever or the worst quarter ever. Like showing up every day with a scoreboard that reads 0 and doing it again. Most people crush through that. Most people are destroyed by that. Great salespeople aren't, right? They have incredible discipline and consistency. You need people that are competitive. You need people that are compassionate, which is a tough mix, but that's what I'm looking for. I want somebody that is like a good doctor, wants to help people, wants to do good, but is also has authority, right? Is an expert, wants to accomplish things, is ambitious, right? So, say it again? Coachable is also really important. Yes, yes. A lot of factors are important, but if I could choose anything, the biggest problem is that a lot of times you'll hire somebody that's incredibly charismatic, because you think that's going to be great at sales, and then the most charismatic people are really, really bad at being consistent, right? I was the worst at this for the first 15 years of being an entrepreneur and selling. I was incredible at sales, but I was incredibly inconsistent, right? So I had like an amazing week, 2 weeks of slacking off, not doing shit. Oh, and then, oh shit, I need to rescue the month, and then doing great again. And then another month where like, last month was really amazing, who gives a shit? And that's how I did my work for the first 10 years, and I was somewhat successful. And it took me a lot to learn to be consistent. Most people aren't consistent, so that's my biggest thing. Yes? How does your marketing team help your sales team close? In our case, it's funny because we decided in a market that is so competitive, the best way for us to compete is to out-teach our competition. So all our marketing is content marketing, right? And so what we've done is we've built a massive audience of people that read our content, learn from us how to sell, usually for 12 to 18 months before they are in the market for CRM. Either for the first time or before they are now ready to move on from the CRM they had. And then when they come to us, the way our marketing team helps the sales team is that most of our leads, they come to us with a massive bias to want to buy from us. I have people every day emailing me, Steli, I cannot wait to buy your product. It's one of my company milestones, right? So that's a very powerful thing, but it also needs a lot of patience. So we only do inbound sales at this point. We only close small and medium-sized businesses. We're not interested in enterprise. So our marketing team is just developing an insane amount of goodwill, so that when people are ready to buy, they are already kind of very bought into our philosophy. They feel like they owe us a lot because they learned so much from us. So it makes selling very, very easy, much easier. Okay, last question. No pressure, but it better be a good one. What differentiates a bad deal from a mediocre deal? It's very simple. The amount of value that's created on both ends, right? So if a successful customer is a customer that receives incredible value, a lot more value than what they're paying you, and they are fully aware of it. They know how much value they're getting from you, right? And vice versa. A great customer is a customer that's generating a lot more value to you than what they're generating in costs, and you're fully aware of it, right? And so the difference between mediocre and great is how big that delta X of value is. Some customers will bring you hundreds of other customers, great customers, right? They're gonna help you with incredible insights on how to do marketing, on how to build your product. They're gonna pay you an insane amount of money. They're gonna build I have customers that I have lifelong relationships with now. They're going to be friends for life. That's insanely valuable. And then there's customers that pay you a little bit more than the cost they're generating, and they're gone after a little while, and it was valuable to them and valuable to us, but not really in that meaningful way. Does that make sense? Cool. Thank you so much. You guys have been amazing. Thank you. Thanks. I'm going to be around to hang out, to answer more questions when cocktails are around. Now, excuse me, I need to run. I need to get to this call on time. All right, bye-bye, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the day.